When you start learning something completely from scratch, there's an overwhelming amount of questions that you don't even know yet. I'm here to answer all of these questions so that you are aware of them and that you don't lose a lot of time and money. I'm Carl, I'm a German musician, music teacher and now apparently music YouTuber, and I'm going to tell you step by step everything that you need to know. I'm very glad that you chose to learn an instrument. You're going to have a great time. Question number 1, what instrument should you learn? I can't help you with that decision. It comes down to you, what you want. But I guess there is some instrument that you always wanted to play and maybe that's the right decision. Consider the music you like to listen to or the instrumental sounds you admire. It really just comes down to what you want to learn. What do you need when you start out? 3 things. A teacher, an instrument and motivation. Everything else your teacher is going to tell you. What's the very first step? Choose an instrument and call your local music school and ask for a teacher of the instrument you want to learn. You will probably find a music school on the internet. They will then give you the contact address of the teacher and you can call them and make out your first lesson with him or her. Lessons should be once per week for about 45 minutes to 1 hour to see optimal results. You should tell the teacher that you don't have an instrument, if you don't have one. And I recommend you to borrow one for the first 3 to 6 months, because if you don't enjoy playing, you don't have to spend a lot of money on an instrument at the beginning. You can then ask if the music school offers borrowing instruments. Often it will be possible, and if yes, the teacher is going to bring the instrument to the first lesson. The lessons will cost you between $50 to $120 per month here in Germany, depending on how many minutes you want per week. It can be more or less expensive, depending on which country you are. Obviously, if you want lessons from a university teacher, it can be more expensive, but this is not what this video is about. The teacher will probably ask you if you've played already. If they don't ask, they have just forgotten, and just tell them, it will make their life easier. Are you too old? Very easy to answer. No, you're not too old for any instrument. If you don't have any severe diseases that make it impossible for you to move your fingers, you can learn an instrument at any age. And I guess you can still sing if you can't move your fingers. So age is no excuse for not learning an instrument, and there are even studies that show that it is possible at any age. I hope I made this very clear. And if you're a bit older, you probably have the time to practice more. And because you can put in more time, you will see more results than a lot of young people who are forced to play by their parents. Where to get an instrument? As I mentioned already, I would recommend you to borrow an instrument for the first 3 to 6 months. So if you don't enjoy playing, you haven't spent a lot of money on an instrument. If your music school does not offer borrowing instruments, find a music store near you. They normally always do. How much does a beginner instrument cost? At the moment, a good beginner woodwind instrument costs about 600 to 700 bucks. I guess strings are a bit more expensive and an upright piano will cost about more like $3,000. How to find the right teacher? As I mentioned already, if they want more than 150 bucks for 1 hour per week, you should find another teacher. Music lessons in other countries can be more expensive or less expensive than here in Germany, so you should check out what is appropriate in your country. Here in Germany, 1 hour per week costs normally between 100 to 120 bucks. Yes, I know that's quite expensive, but most musicians do it professionally and they have studied it, so they earn their living from it. And 100 bucks for 4.5 1-hour lessons is just about $24 per hour, so it's not that much. Fun fact, a bachelor's degree in music here in Germany takes longer than a bachelor's degree in engineering, economics, or even physics. What if you can't afford a teacher? We are at a very fortunate place in history. If you don't have the means to pay a teacher, you can learn pretty much everything via the internet. I'm not advocating for learning an instrument on your own, but if you don't have the money, I'm 100% certain that you can do it. There are properly tutorials for every instrument here on YouTube, and I'm going to post a few videos here on this channel in which I share with you everything that I know about practicing. So if you haven't, consider subscribing because it will be valuable and you will save a lot of time. Something that you can do for free is asking friends, people you know from school, for free lessons maybe like once a month, or you can pay them 10 bucks for this 1 hour so you get some kind of feedback from someone else. Also, you can just write musicians and teachers if you have very specific questions and most of them will happily respond. Or ask your school teacher. If you can afford it, take the lowest amount of minutes per week, mostly it will be 30 minutes. This will as well save you a lot of money. And often group lessons or lessons together with others will be cheaper, so maybe this is an option. I will talk about this later. How often should you have lessons and how long should they be? Normal standard is 45 minutes per week, but most music schools also offer 30 minutes and 60 minutes as well. If you can afford it, I would go with the 45 minutes, so you have the time to ask a lot of questions, but also play a lot together with your teacher. And it's not too long, so that you forget half what you learned afterwards, especially at the beginning. Later, you can definitely upgrade to 60 minutes. Very important, you should have lessons every week. An exception are the holidays. Music schools make the same vacations as normal schools do, so inform yourself when they are. Group lessons or lessons alone. I would always go with lessons alone if you can afford it. Group lessons will be cheaper, but they won't be as efficient as if you would have the possibility to work with someone one-on-one. If you decide for group lessons, there should be max 2 or 3 people in one class, and it's not the same as band lessons in school. Unfortunately, I don't know the English terms for Bläserklasse and Gruppenunterricht, but as I mentioned, it should be a class of 2, max 3 people who all play the same instrument. Not a group of 9 people all playing a different instrument, and the teacher is not even playing the instrument you want to learn. What pieces, songs should you play? If you're younger, the teacher will mostly tell you what to play at the beginning so that you will make decent progress. As an adult, you will have much more freedom in how you want to design your lessons. This doesn't mean that you can't decide which pieces you want to play as a child, but the teacher will have more to say about what you're able to play and what you aren't. How to prepare for the first lesson. Your teacher is going to tell you what you need to prepare for the first lesson, so don't worry about that. Normally, you don't have to bring anything to the first lesson, except for your instrument, if you don't get it from the teacher. And normally, you also don't have to prepare for the first lesson. Should you prepare for the lessons at home? Yes, definitely, that's probably the most important thing. If you want to get better, you have to practice, there is no shortcut. How much should you practice? I would say 3 times for 30 minutes per week. If you can do 30 minutes to 1 hour per day, do it and you will see progress very fast. One thing I want to mention, practicing 3 times per week for 30 minutes is better than practicing once per week for 1.5 hours. Why? If it's the same overall time? Because of how we humans learn. And if you don't understand this, you won't make any progress at all. That's why you should check out this video right here where I explain exactly how all of this works. Thanks for watching, I really appreciate it. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe, and we see each other on the next one.